How's it going, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. So this video is going to set up into two chapters. First one is going to be a scenario, or the bug out scenario, and the second is going to be food prep. How do you cook food with your bug out bag with minimalist gear? I'm going to show you that. I'm going to walk through that. But the scenario is to prep your mind and get you started in that simulation or that scenario to actually maybe get put in something like that. So we're going to dive into that specifically. All right, so the scenario is as followed. SHTF situation did occur. My family left before me. Unfortunately, I was on a business trip, made it back just in time, but the city was bad. I'm talking we couldn't pass. I couldn't use my primary bug out route. I couldn't use my alternate. So the cities were all done. So I had to unfortunately go out on foot and go through a heavily wooded and dense area, roughly. Kind of, you know, a national forest, which this will eventually get me there. It's taken me a little bit longer. So I'm about day 4 into it, into the hike, and getting a little low on food. I came upon a ranch. I observed it for a while and decided to make contact with these individuals along my route. They seemed good enough folk and whatnot, so I stowed this in the backpack. I had it set up and everything, made contact. Turns out they're really good family, and I did a trade with them for food. What did I specifically trade? I traded information because I was just in the city 4 days ago and it was going downhill very quickly. So I explained everything that was going on, what I kind of know because I don't really know what's going on, but I explained everything to them and they in turn gave me food and even offered for me to stay the night, but I wanted to push on further. So I'm about 8 miles further down this stream heading to my bug out location. I didn't stay with them. I wanted to put, you know, time down. So now I'm getting hungry. I want to eat this food because it is perishable, what they gave me. So now I'm going to set up a location to eat. I'm not going to eat and I'm not going to sleep in the same location. I'm going to eat here and then probably continue another mile and then set up camp or, you know, a temporary sleeping location of specifically where I am. So I'll show you the food that they traded me and how are we going to trade, or how are we going to cook this food with primitive bug out bag kind of kit. So let's dive into it. All right, so here's what I ended up trading the information for. So specifically, they gave me a potato, which is awesome. They gave me some butter, just a small slice of butter. They gave me, I guess, last year's green beans, which is canned, which they said they kind of needed to get rid of. And they recently slaughtered a cow. So I actually got a steak. I am very impressed that they actually gave me something like this. This is pretty impressive. So perishable, at least some of this. So I have kind of two choices. Do I eat all of this and continue forth, mainly because I have other food, or do I kind of break this up into different nights? So I'm fairly close. I'm about, you know, 40 miles from my destination where I want to go. So I'm just going to consume all this today or tonight, and we're going to push right into it. But how do we cook steak and like literally all of this with literally just this? This is all I have on me to cook. So how are we going to go about that? That's where I'm going to show you. So I'm gathered some material earlier in the day as I was hiking. I got some, you know, very smaller fire starting material, some pine, some fat wood and stuff like that. So now I'm just going to scrounge around here, grab some of the stuff to create a fire, and then we're going to push straight into making this. All right, So for the steak, which tends to be an issue if you only have a Canteen cup available to you, what I did was just get a stick, put it into a Y like this, and sharpen them down with a knife, whatever you have at hand. Place the steak on it over the fire. As for the green beans, I'm just gonna pour those into the Canteen cup. Now I already heated it up a little bit. There's a little bit of water in it. There's probably more than what I need. Get it into the coals. Now we're gonna need the potato, which I have something over here, which I always carry tinfoil oil with me, at least 2 pieces. So, fairly straightforward with it. Open your tinfoil up, put your potato in there. You don't have to use it all. I use a lot here, just enough. So for the potato, I didn't use all the tin foil. So I want to hold on to this because I didn't need it all to do it, because you're always conserving, at least resources. So I can use this another time. I didn't need to use all that. So we're going to put that back in the side. And with the butter, got a little piece of butter they gave me. Open that up a little bit and just put this around it in different locations just to kind of, I know you're supposed to put it on back or afterwards, but in this scenario, I think it'll be okay. There we go. Put your potato on, everything's doing pretty good. Just gonna add some wood. So after you're done with other tools, just stow them immediately, mainly because if you have to get out of here in a hurry, for some reason, if you would have to leave very quickly, you're not gonna wanna leave stuff behind. Now, unfortunately, you might have to leave some things, but that's why majority of everything else you can pick up and stow. Now I'm using this as a ground mat for my knees and whatnot, and now we're just pretty much waiting on everything. So realistically, you do not need a lot of stuff to have a reasonably good meal. You can improvise and make stuff work. I didn't even need to put the green beans in here, honestly. I could probably just eat them out of there, out of the jar. But heating them up is just that much better, especially if I already have a fire going. And if I need to boil water, I already have my Canteen over here, which has good clean water. We'll probably do it here in a little bit. But this is gonna be also, if I'm cooking with this one, I can boil water in my Canteen. Kind of a dual role and whatnot. So mainly for the steak and whatnot, you're just gonna slowly rotate it around. Get all those edges and whatnot, get it fairly close, get a lot of that heat, and then slowly keep adding wood to it as well. So if you're worried about your concealment or other people coming upon you, you can always do a smaller fire. This is a fairly small fire. Yes, the smoke is gonna carry, and this may take a little while, but you're not going to sleep in this location. I am not. I'm going to continue on past this after I have my steak and everything. which I'm fairly looking forward to, and it's looking really good. So this is boiling over, which we're gonna take it out and just let that cool down a little bit, because that thing is crazy warm right now. All right. So, looks like this is going to be my plate for today. And we could just have a hot plate and just warm that up. Now, make sure you don't take anything from in the water. Water could be inside that, but that's fairly dry, and you're not placing it in the fire, just keeping it close. It's gonna absorb all that heat and whatnot over time, probably the whole process of doing this. And then once I lay my steak on there, it'll keep the steak warmer for longer rather than just trying to eat it off the stick, which you could. Definitely a possibility if you really want to. But ultimately, I think this is gonna work out pretty good. So some of you are probably upset about the realism or the potential realism of this scenario of who would give up food like that for information. That's actually fairly viable in a lot of locations. Information is sometimes more valuable than other stuff that they have an abundance of. That specific family that I picked up these items from, they were very well off. They had electricity, they had solar, they had running water from a spring, they had a lot of cattle. Even though SHTF happened, they didn't really know what was going on. They weren't gonna venture in town because they saw the smoke, they saw everything was going on. You know, radio, TV doesn't work anymore. What the heck happened? So they know something occurred, but they have no idea what. And they're not going to take the risk to go into a city and see what's going on. So me showing up with information, and then they had an abundance of this food, we were willing to make a deal. That's fairly realistic. I mean, for yourself, if you knew nothing and something major was happening and you had these items, wouldn't you trade it for that as well? Personally, I would. That family was fairly well set up. So the realism of this, it doesn't hurt to ask, especially if you look at a city or look at a house or something like that for a long period of time and see that they're like decent and you can probably make contact with them. Depending on the scenario, you may have to make contact or may want to. I could have completely ignored it and kept pressing on. Would I probably make it? Yes. Would I be eating this good though? Probably not, no. I would be eating the freeze-dried stuff that I have in my pack. So, options like that, you're gonna have to risk or risk management for that based aspect. So let me know in the comments if you guys are interested in, you know, doing more of these things, seeing more of them. Do you like these bug out scenarios? You know, do a scenario of why would I be doing this and then actually do it. A lot of this stuff is fairly easy. I mean, having a full meal with just a cup and a spoon, you know, if you haven't done it before, it's very difficult or interesting to find out actually how to do that. Kind of looks like a piece of flint, but it's not. But anyways, the steak should be getting around. I can definitely feel the heat pouring off of that. You could always throw it right on the coals too if you wanted to. I know that's very popular. I could have used a tin foil to wrap it and then place it in. There's different ways to do it. If you didn't have the tin foil, you could probably just put the potato in there. You could probably just put the steak straight in there. I mean, it's definitely possible. It just depends on how you want to do it. Did I need to heat up the green beans? No, not necessarily, but I did anyways. And realistically, if you needed to, you could save this tin foil. I mean, if you just carefully open it up, yes, is it slightly used? Yeah, definitely. But for the majority of it, it's still gonna be good to go. Let's put the knife in there and see what we're doing. Oh yeah. Looks like I got a rainstorm or something coming in on us, unfortunately, which this should be done and taken care of. If not, I'll bust out the poncho, probably just get under my poncho and back a little bit further away from the fire. and just eat this, honestly. Oh yeah, still a lot of heat putting out of there. All right. Let's see about this side, or at least the back. Yeah, look at that. Great piece of steak. So recap wise, specifically, you do not need a full cook kit to cook a good meal, especially if you have the ingredients for it. Does it make it easier? Yes, of course. But when weight is that primary concern, that whole meal was done reasonably with just a spoon, a knife, and this specific cup. Now you can use other things, you know, the hot rock technique, sticks, use tin foil. Tin foil did come in handy. There's all kinds of different ways to do it. This is just an example of one with a scenario. So with that, for the scenario aspect, I have to pack up some of this stuff and head on out of here. There's a storm coming in, I think, and I want to be set up in my overnight position before that storm majorly hits. I get soaking wet, want to be reasonably set up. Not gonna set up here, of course, because this is pretty much now ridden with food. The smell is gonna carry for animals, for other people, especially other hungry people. So I don't wanna be around here for very long. So let's pack everything up and head on the way. So if you guys like this kind of stuff, definitely like, subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. PayPal, Patreon definitely helps. If you want to see more of this, definitely let me know in the comments. Is it entertaining? Does you have value? Did it educate you? Whatever it is, just go ahead, hit like, subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Other than that, I hope you all have a great day. Also, one last thing before you leave. Make sure you can put your hand fully on top where your fire was. We don't want any forest fires or anything like that, destroying more. So just keep that in mind.